Come on and hear.
I'd like to hear.
Come on and hear.
I'd like to hear.
Alexander's Ragtime Band. Come on and hear.
Oh, yes, my dear.
Come on and hear.
Oh, yes, my dear.
It's the best band in the land.
Can we play the bugle call like I never heard before?
Why, it's so natural that you want to go to war. That's just the bestest band, what am. Honey lamb, come on along, come on along. Let me take you by the hand. Up to the man, up to that man.
What we have here is the 1911 .45 semi-automatic handgun, John M. Browning designed. As everyone knows, it's the 100th anniversary this year of the 1911. Contrary to what a lot of sources are saying, though, it was not actually designed in 1911. That was the year it was adopted by the military. Just to give a real quick look, here is the .45 caliber, and here is a .357, and here's the 9mm. It is not a Magnum like the .357. She packs a wallop though. This particular handgun here is a Auto-Ordnance Corporation handgun. I purchased it, I believe it was in 1993 at the Marine Corps Post Exchange. And I believe I paid $325 for it, or $299, somewhere around in there. This one here kind of have an interesting story. I, like most teenagers, or most gun-loving teenagers, all my teen years and early 20s, I was waiting to turn 21 so that I could purchase a handgun. And when I turned 21, I was actually over in Somalia, which sucked in two ways, because for one thing, I couldn't have any beer on my birthday, and two, I couldn't buy a handgun on my birthday. So the first thing I did when I got back, literally I think it was the next day, is I rushed to the exchange and bought this handgun. And if I remember correctly, it's been a while, but I believe in California it was a 10-day wait at the time. I don't know if it still is. 10-day wait for me to get the handgun, and that was the longest wait of my life, I think. But when all my buddies were running out to buy the latest Nintendo, which I believe, if I remember correctly, it was a Nintendo 64, I ran out and purchased this. So, a little bit about this handgun here. This is a 7-shot. Takedown is relatively simple. Gotta make sure the gun is clear. Then, oops. Hang up here. Work with me. There it is right there. These are all the parts. It's got quite a few parts by today's standards. Most handguns today usually 3 or 4 parts. Here's the barrel. This is all standard. This is actually what came with the handgun back in '93, all standard. The only thing I've replaced is the spring. I did have a spring break on me. Excuse me. So I ended up purchasing another spring. And this one was a little bit stiffer. The first one I actually had some feed issues with. It wasn't a strong enough spring, and I got a lot of stovepipes out of it. But once I got the new spring for, I think, 50 cents, back in 1998, once I got that spring, it's worked like a pro ever since. I've always thought, you know, putting this thing together, a little bit more, you know, I'm used to, in the military, I've always been issued a M9 Beretta. So this thing here is, you know, I've always felt a little bit more finicky as far as putting it together. Making sure this part was lined up here and that part's lined up there, and It's actually been a while since I've taken this apart and putting it together, so I'm not doing anything exactly the way you might do it. That's why. This part here is one of those little tricky parts of getting this little jobby lined up. It snaps back in place. So now once you get it together, you want to do a function check. Make sure all the safeties are good. You'll notice with this one, it only goes on safe when the hammer is back. It's because it's a single action. I don't particularly like to dry fire this unless I have a snap cap in there. Just because I have heard of some people saying that firing pin can be brittle on these, so I don't do it. So if you have any questions or comments, please do so. Semper Fi.
Honey dear, what you dear, just turn down the light and then come over here. Get the flow up to my side, with lovely fire, with lovely fire in my arms. Never thought that life would ever be so sweet till I met you some time ago. But now I know I love you so. My honey, oh, you beautiful dove, you brave, beautiful dove. Let me put my arms about you. I could never live without you. Oh, you beautiful dove, you brave, beautiful dove. If you ever leave me, how my heart will ache.